You are now listening to
Thing.
UCereal. All right. So three is explained. Two, one, and we're live.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the UCereal podcast. I'm your host, joined here with yeah,
Daniel.
and
Zeke.
oh yeah. Today we have actually quite the interesting episode. Some pretty exciting and kind of scary talking points, as well as some changes and all that good stuff. So as always, we're gonna start off with just our weeklies. Um, Daniel, you want to go first? How was your week?
Sure. My week. I don't know. One of the best moments of my week, I'd say, is I bought a pack of 40 of these like mini bags of baked hot Cheetos on Amazon Prime Day. They were on
I saw
sale.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, I think that's a great investment. So I bought those. Those came this week. That was pretty nice. I got the baked ones because they didn't have the normal ones, but I kind of like the baked ones because it reminds
Mm,
me of high school because that's what they sold in the vending machines.
very nice.
And then the other big part of my week, I'd say, was um, I don't know, my school. They're doing some kind of grant thing now to where like students don't have to pay their tuition for the summer classes this semester. So that's nice.
Are
That's
you
a big
taking
win.
summer classes?
I am.
I didn't know that.
Yep, I am. Yeah. But that was a big win, big win.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's about it.
Circling back, how much money does it cost one to get 40 packs of
Oh,
baked hot
dude, it
Cheetos?
only costs like $10.
That's a steal.
And
What
think
is that?
about it. If I sold each bag for $1, that's
You're
a big
making
profit.
75 cents per bag.
Oh yeah. I just go
Wow.
out side of road, open up a baked hot
Hot
Cheetos
Cheetos.
stand.
Hot Cheetos.
Oh yeah. But
I
I don't
guess
know.
I'll go next if you're done.
Yeah, go for it.
I also have had pretty much a chill week. Kind of got back into Minecraft, been playing the new
I heard.
1.17 update. It's been fun. I'm a big Minecrafter,
I'm a
and
big Minecraft.
it'll always hold a special place in my heart. I got a haircut this week. It's hard to tell now because it's kind of
Looks
dark
great,
and I'm wearing
Jake.
a headset. It looked better earlier. I had some sweat going and like
Oh
leftover
yeah.
product. It was perfect.
That's perfect.
Um, but yeah, it kind of just air dried off after the shower because I was got right on because I had to play Minecraft. Hung out with some friends, stuff like that. I too probably need to start looking at school stuff for next semester. Sign up for classes, and then I think the semester after I want to go to USF, so I need to start working on transferring.
Pretty big, Jake.
Yeah,
And are you gonna get an apartment when you go to USF?
I gotta
I know
figure
you
that
had
out
mentioned
too.
that before.
I know I
Yeah.
want to do that really badly. I just
Is
gotta see
Joseph
if he's down. I
gonna
think he'd
transfer to
want to.
USF?
He already did. He's starting next semester. He's a
Oh,
he's a semester ahead of me because he started dual enrollment earlier. So
yeah,
I pretty much I took the classes that he took like the previous semester,
yeah.
like pretty much our whole high school career.
Nice. Very nice.
Um, so yeah, I don't know. I do also need to figure that out and see who's down, and it's just tough to look now because the market's so inflated in Florida, and everything's just
It's everywhere.
crazy everywhere, but
Yeah.
especially Florida, I think. So I'm hoping I can wait for the summer season to start dying down, and maybe it'll be better in like fall. But yeah, I should probably start looking at that too.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I got a lot of adult stuff and decisions to make, which I don't love, but I gotta do it.
gotta do
It
it.
only gets worse from there, buddy.
I can only imagine.
I can only imagine.
How was your week, Easy?
It's been good. I've had a lot of responsibilities to take in. Just finishing up fixing the house, doing little things like that, talking to the realtor and the agents.
Hmm.
Excited for the keys to be put in my hands next week. So, there's a lot of stuff coming up and a lot of stuff that happened this week that got me pretty excited for my future. And yeah, just unfortunately, this is gonna be the last episode I'll be doing most likely up until this point. I have a lot of things that I mentioned that are happening, and other personal things that are going on as well. Nothing negative, but positive. I have big plans in my career path, as well as just overall personal things that I need to look into. And quite frankly, I don't have the time to be doing this and also be doing what I want to be doing. So yeah, so this is just going to be my last episode. Obviously, if you guys need support or help, I'll be here. Nonetheless,
Mhm.
it was great doing this. I've always dreamed of having a podcast. Always dreamed of creating one. Uh, so this was a great opportunity to get my feet in the water and just kind of experience what it would be like to have one. Obviously, things change and life changes, and yeah. So
I mean, you definitely did it. Not a lot of people can say they produced 15 episodes of a podcast.
Yeah.
Good episodes too. I'm proud of all of our episodes.
yeah, I'm proud of just the brand, the name, and not necessarily a
It's
brand, but just
the
the
idea.
whole thing.
Yeah.
It's grown little by little. Nothing major, nothing like huge, but it's something enough to have me look back and be like, that was fun. So
Mhm.
hopefully you guys take the throne and make it even better. Power to you guys if you do, and if you don't, well, I wish you nothing but success. So
I
let's
mean, that's some
jumpstart.
Easy just had told us about this before we started, and obviously
Mhm.
me and Daniel need to talk. But I mean, I think I'd want to continue too. I'm sure.
Yeah, I
I
want to
hope you do.
continue. Nah,
Give it a little bit. Nah,
fuck
I'm
you,
done.
Jake.
No.
Nah.
I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about finding a third host. Maybe we'll just do the two of us for a while.
Yeah,
But
we'll
I've had a
figure
lot of
it out.
fun with this, and I feel like it's only a matter of time before we kind of take the next steps. I want to keep grinding a little bit longer. And of course,
Yeah.
Easy's always welcome back if anything changes.
Mhm.
All right. Well,
But yeah, I think we're ready to move on here. Enough said.
First talking point, which is
Y- Why don't you
social
take this one?
gloves.
Take this, Daniel. I know you're
Take
excited
this?
about this.
All right, I
Please.
am excited because we kind of predicted this when it was gonna happen. We saw with the social gloves, YouTube versus TikTok boxing event that they had a lot of big names. They were promising a like massive paychecks to everyone, to all the fighters. Bryce Hall, I think, said he was getting like 5 million for his fight, and they were expecting like 2.5 million pay-per-view buys, which is like extremely unrealistic. They had all these rappers and massive names performing and attending this event that they paid for, and now it's been revealed that they're bankrupt and that like all the fighters haven't gotten paid yet.
Uh,
And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Shocker.
And
Am I right?
yeah, shocker. When we saw all the names, we're like, how do they afford this? And they couldn't. They didn't. Which
No,
is
that was just
not very
a
surprising at all.
news article we saw also right before we started. I'm gonna assume it's true because it makes sense, but obviously we could be wrong
Does make
because we
it
sense.
is
didn't fully
true.
dig in. It is true.
Yeah, I just looked it up. They filed 2 days ago.
Oh
Okay,
my
well there you
god.
go.
It, honestly, they don't deserve to put on another event after what like the whole Gib thing and now this. They do not belong putting on any entertainer or any events for that matter.
Yeah, apparently it was first heard on their Instagram story or something, and
Hmm.
they're they're just putting a bunch of crap out there saying they're working tirelessly to verify financial results, and
They're
they
working.
hired a first-class forensic auditor to make sure that all the amounts are properly accounted for. It's just bull crap. I mean,
Yeah.
they don't have the money, they don't have the capital. There's nothing. I mean, it's just gonna be they're either gonna file Chapter 11 and they're not gonna pay anybody, or they're just gonna do a Chapter 13 and basically put an IOU to everyone, which they probably will never
An
see.
IOU.
I
So I
can
mean, it's
imagine
just
being like,
it's basic bankruptcy protocol, really. They're just trying
That's
to save grace so that when they're never heard of again, they hope to not be brought up in a conversation of a meme or something. But nonetheless,
oh
they're
I
my
gonna
mean,
god.
be. they're gonna be
I saw
cracked
that
on.
coming. I saw it coming the night of the fight when I watched it on YouTube of all places.
You watched it
I
on
watched
YouTube?
I watched it on YouTube. Like the first half, because the website wasn't working, so I
Yeah.
watched it on YouTube, and there was like 7 streams of it on YouTube. I mean, and I don't know how freaking the MMA and boxing events. I know they have a lot of hardcore fans that gladly pay, but they
Yeah.
also have a lot of people who don't pay. And so
Yeah.
like pay-per-view is tough. And when you're banking on all these views and all this money coming in, not to mention that probably was close to $1 billion event. I don't know what they were expecting. So this makes sense.
Yeah, just I don't see how they saw this feasible at all. I think they were just looking at expenses, like how much can we spend, and not calculate
Yeah.
revenue, because they didn't obviously take into account um, the immense amount of online pirating, streaming, and all that
Mhm.
stuff. So they didn't have anyone that was with a brain to look into those sort of
And their
arbitrages.
pay-per-view. Their pay-per-view is pretty expensive too,
Yeah, but I mean,
which doesn't
it's
help.
there are people that'll pay for it. It's just they didn't take into account any contingency when it came to these sort of things. So I mean, it was really, they put themselves in the best spot for this to happen, and
And I don't know
it
why
is
they
what it
hired
is.
all of those musical acts because I could give a crap. Like
Yeah.
who's like
What the
okay, it's
heck?
like a fun bonus, but like why are you gonna spend so
Nobody
much
goes
money?
to the boxing event to go watch a little baby.
No one watches a boxing event to watch a little baby.
Yeah. What
Like
the
it's like
heck?
fun and cool, like oh okay, but like why? That I mean that only made the problem so much worse.
Yeah, and those people come with the price tag. Those people aren't like your 100 grand per show. They're like 100 grand per hour type of people.
That's
So the
lucky.
fact that that even got into conversations, like that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, like we mentioned, this was gonna happen, obviously, and
Yeah.
quite frankly, I
I'm
don't even know
hoping
how they even came up with the numbers to do
I'm
this.
hoping this is the first step towards the end of this type of YouTube influencer amateur boxing. Step two is Tyron Woodley hopefully knocking out Jake Paul.
Darn. Oh, that's coming up soon, isn't it?
It's in
Is that in
August, I believe.
July?
July or
Oh,
Is it?
August.
It's
I
definitely
don't know.
August.
yeah.
I think enough said. You guys want to
Yeah.
talk
Yeah,
about
I'm
Drake
ready.
Bell?
Or you guys can.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
Easy. Why don't you take this? Because this was your talking point.
yeah, and I think we talked about it like 2 podcasts ago, where we had a short
Yeah.
conversation about Drake Bell and being not convicted, but being charged with a count of child endangerment. And there was a lot of conversation on whether this was true or not, if he actually was talking to a young girl. And obviously, my last podcast said, we don't know for sure. Let's wait until, the actual, things come out. And obviously, now they did, and he's pleading guilty, so he knows the verdict. We know the verdict already. This man's gonna be guilty.
Yeah, what the
He did do this thing, which is disgusting by all means, and he
So
deserves
sad.
everything that's coming at him, because pedophiles are disgusting and fucking trash. But and he's pleading guilty, and he's being charged with up to 2 years in prison.
oof.
So it's a
That's
little
it.
less than
2 years.
I thought. I
Yeah,
thought he
that's
would
what
get
I was.
more, but I mean, if as long as he's listed as a child predator and he gets his whole life ruined,
Yeah.
that's okay with me.
I would like a little bit more jail time, but yeah, that's pretty damaging stuff. Opening, like, just when a public figure, there's just someone that's
Yeah.
that much in the public. It's one thing to be your like average Joe and you're on a watch list, like neighborhood pedophile list, but you're someone who's in the public eye getting stamped as a predator. Like
Yeah, he's a
that's
public
brutal.
figure. Yeah, I mean
And
That's
he.
getting
brutal. He
canceled
deserves
and
it, but it's
yeah.
brutal. So yeah, maybe 2 years and a public stamp is good enough, but.
Mhm.
It's thick.
I don't think it's enough, but I mean, what can you
Who
do? The
knows?
justice system's out of whack.
He's gonna probably
It
end up
is.
working at McDonald's for the rest of his life.
And not even, dude. He's not
That's McDonald's is
Wh-
worse than prison.
McDonald's is worse
gonna.
than.
Yeah, I feel like it's the end for him now, and I grew up watching this guy,
Yeah, what the heck?
and I really enjoyed him in my years, my prime years. But I always tell people, don't look up to these individuals. I mean, these people are the same as you and I. They have
Yeah,
faults. They have shitty pasts. They have mistakes. Like they're human. So don't just cuz I mean, appreciate the art, the work that they do, but just don't get yourself caught up in who they are cuz they can really change on a dime. And there's just
Yeah.
yeah.
things you don't know about these people. But
That's one
sad
thing
to
I've been
say.
trying to work on as a person is because as a young teen, middle school or whatever, I used to really idolize
Mhm.
YouTubers, celebrities, social figures, buy all their stuff, go see them in events and all that stuff. And it's as I've gotten older, I've kind of learned like they're just people working a job. And
Mhm.
so cute. And it's not worth all the stress and freaking out and just I mean, and another point is you look at these people who are social figures and they think they're just doing a job, something they're passionate about, and then they have all these crazed fans. This is kind of getting off the topic, and like
No, it's fine.
paparazzi who like harass them. They're like, can I hug you? Can you sign this? And like, I'm sure it's fun. I bet for them, but like I've seen so many videos where the celebrities just look broken,
Yeah.
and it's kind of sad too. Like it just can't. Every people are crazy. Like it can't just be someone working a job. It's got to be like they're my god, and I want to
There, my
stalk
God.
them and hug them and touch them. And
And that's the
like it's
thing where you bring up that conversation of ego and manipulativeness and narcissism. I mean, these people are on their high horse their whole lives because
it it
they're
creates mental
famous
illness.
and they're huge and they have this following and it's like a cult and it's like they can do whatever they want to their fans and then all of a sudden they have this power and then all of a sudden they go to these meet and greets and then they meet little girls and they're like, "Hey, how you doing?" And the little girl will do anything for them. "Oh, I'll do anything for you. You're my savior." And then next thing you know,
Meet me in the bathroom. 5 minutes.
there you
Oh my
go.
God.
I mean, it's reality, and I think that happens a lot in that industry. So,
Yeah,
but
it's
yeah,
terrible.
well,
Next point.
I think you know we've seen a lot of things go down. That's
Mhm.
like huge, and I think this next topic's really funny.
Yeah.
Because I love Ethan. I love the H3H3 podcasts. They're sort of the reason why I wanted to. Well, not sort of the reason, but they enhanced my wanting to create a podcast. And I mean, this is just gold content. So Ethan and Steven Crowder had agreed to debate live on their podcasts. I think it was on the 22nd or 3rd of this month, and everything was planned. Ethan was ready with his producer, and so was Steven Crowder. They talked a little bit before the actual debate. They were talking about their children and saying, "Hey, how you doing? How's the kids? How's the wife?" Blah blah blah. And then once it started to settle in, when they started to settle in the actual debate, Ethan and Steven were just getting to the point, and then Steven was saying, "All right, well, talking about some jujitsu bullshit or whatever." And
Jujitsu.
Ethan was like, "Well, I didn't want to make it easy on you, so I prepared." And then Ethan looks to the side and talks to his head producer and says, "Hey, whenever you're ready." And uh, I mean, in the beginning, Steven Crowder was already nervous, so he was like very like
Yeah.
he looked very clammy. He was like kind of jittery. He wasn't really the Steven Crowder you would see out when he was doing his YouTube videos. So out of nowhere, the camera pans or changes, and then you see this human, this dork, with glasses, but he's like really really good. He's intelligent. He's bright, and it's the man Sam Cedar himself, um, on the camera, and all of a sudden the whole mood change. Steven Crowder was like so quick to change from that jittery whatever to this really like nervous, like freaking out, like panic attack, like just yelling at Sam Cedar, and his dad, or I think his like co-host, comes out of nowhere, puts on the microphone and puts on the headphones, and they're just talking mad crap to Sam Cedar and Ethan, and they're like, "Oh, you're oh you couldn't debate on your selfie thing, you stupid little freaking Jew," or whatever he was freaking saying to him, and it was freaking hilarious, dude. They were just
You can't
going at
say
it.
that.
Nice.
Yeah. and
That's super
and
rude,
Sam
dude.
Cedar's just trying so hard to say, let's talk about it. Let's talk. Let's debate. We were gonna debate in Politico, blah blah blah. And Sam Cedar's like, oh, you want to debate now? Who are you? No one even knows who you are. I have a million, like 2 million more followers than you on YouTube. Blah 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 blah. And Steven Crowder was just getting pissed off, and then it just uproar and arguing. Sam Cedar had no room to talk because Steven Crowder was talking too much. I mean, it's the videos out there. You guys can see it, but
I
it
didn't
just
see it.
abruptly cuts, and then everything finished. So it was really funny. I honestly enjoyed that back and forth. Um, Steven Crowder making fun of Ethan, and Ethan talking about because Steven Crowder wears these the holster for his guns
Oh
every
yeah,
every
yeah.
show,
Yeah.
and Ethan's like, "Hey, Daddy, am I? Do you like my holster? Do you like my holster? Does it look good? Are you proud of me?" And Steven was getting pissed off. He's like, "Oh, you don't respect the Second Amendment, huh? Huh? You trying to take our bear?" It was just freaking
Oh my
hilarious the whole
god.
time. It's
I
just this
want to
back
see
and
that.
forth bantering. It really
Wow.
boosted
Yeah.
their views though.
I need to watch that episode. Yeah, I looked at it briefly and saw it had 2.2 million views.
Yeah,
We have three
really good
days to go.
stuff.
Mm, I'll have to take a look at that.
Sam Cedar. Yep. The one.
Yeah, I like both. I mean, Sam Cedar, he's funny, but he does play that little game where he talks to like really unintelligent people, make him look stupid, make him look like way smarter than he really is. But that's just entertainment. You always got to
Mhm.
get those scapegoats and just make him look stupid, and it's funny as hell. But nonetheless, he was shitting himself when Sam Cedar popped up.
Wow.
Um, I think let's briefly talk about our last point, then we gotta wrap up, because I know Daniel has to like, leave around 6.
Mhm.
But
Did he text you that?
But
he it was said earlier in the group
Okay.
chat.
yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah, Miami building collapse.
We don't have to talk
That's
about it. It's
I want to
just
talk
I only
about it.
brought it up because it was something that
I want
happened.
to talk about it.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
Let's finish with that.
You want to take this one, Jake?
I
You
don't. I've
mentioned
probably done the least
it.
about it.
I mean, easy.
Let's have Daniel do it.
All right. Well, I mean, I don't know much about it. I just know
There's this
there
building
was
in Miami
Oh
and it
my
it
gosh.
was
collapsed.
an apartment. Well, it was like a little condo place or apartment place, and it just collapsed in the middle of the night while everybody was sleeping. And now there's a bunch of missing persons. And
159. No, does missing mean dead, like under the rubble, or
No, it's unaccounted for. So there's 159 people unaccounted for, so they could be missing, okay, or dead. There is 140 that are alive, and then there's
mhm.
four that are dead. So we're
confirmed dead?
still trying to figure out if there's 159 people still alive or dead right now, and that's pretty
So
that's
they
pretty
could just be in
staggering.
like pockets under the rubble, or it's like a kind of
Um, I think from what
Could they
I
just not
read,
be home?
there was a so I think a bunch of experts were talking about how it actually initially happened. Uh, and this has been a big thing in Miami, where a lot of construction work and a lot of civil engineers have done really shitty jobs. And this
Yeah, I
isn't
just
the
watched
first
a
time
video.
that a building or like a structure has fallen in Miami. There was an incident about a uh, a bridge that was newly built, and this was like 2 years ago, that had collapsed. And it was on over like a really busy highway road. It collapsed and it killed like dozens of people, like crushed in vehicles and stuff. Um, so it was just faulty um, engineer work. There were a lot of defects. And there weren't many inspections to this building, so there weren't any updates on whether or not the foundation was okay enough to live in. It was just poor management on whoever was managing this building, and the engineers that came to inspect it. So it's just unfortunate, and I mean, I hope to God that there's still people alive, and people are returned home safely. But I mean, it's just, yeah. So
Did this just happen
Oh.
today
yep.
or this morning?
It
No,
happened, I think it
wasn't it
was on the
yesterday or like?
early night of Thursday, right? 24th.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they're still actively just searching for
Yeah,
people.
bro. I mean, they got people on
That's
helicopters, like they're dropping them on top of this building that could fall at any freaking moment still. And it's just
Goodness.
it's kind of scary because there's photos of you see these like I don't know what they are, rescue team or whatever, and they're just being
Hmm.
plopped on top of the rubble, like on the building. And it's just like scary to look at because that's like 12 stories, and I'm scared of heights and shit like that. So that's a no go for me.
That's a no go.
But
It's a no go for most people. Well, that's a pretty big thing that happened. I actually have something else to talk about that just talking about Florida reminded me of. I don't know if you guys heard about Governor Ron DeSantis or a bill he just signed in, but it caused a lot of controversy. It was a transgender athlete bill. It's
yeah, I saw
to
that.
prevent, yeah, to prevent I guess people transitioning, or like, transgenders, whatever like sex they started out at, I think is the team they would have to play on. So if I transitioned from a man to a female, I can't go play on the female team. I have to play on the male team. So what's everybody's thoughts on that?
Honestly, with the whole LGBTQ community, I
Mhm.
don't have a lot of opinion on it. I think it's a free country
yeah,
and
I
Mhm.
agree.
people should be able to do what they want to do. Um, my only thing with the whole transgender thing is that before there's any serious surgeries, the child should be an adult of 18 years. Because
Mhm.
that's my only take on the whole community. But I think they should be allowed to do what they want. I don't know. I've never really thought about it much. I guess that makes sense. Just keep the integrity of sports. But I can see how
Yeah.
people would be upset about that because they're advocating that they're not the gender they are and they want to play. But at the same time, every cell in their body still says that they're a certain gender and they're going to get an unfair advantage.
Yeah.
And a lot of people care a lot about sports and want to keep the integrity of it. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's unfair to the females also, you
I
know.
mean, yeah, because you got males coming into I mean,
Yeah, there's an example of this, I think New Zealand or Australian
It's New Zealand.
powerlifter. Yeah, powerlifter who transitioned and now they're actually going to be competing in the Olympics this summer. And they
yeah.
had went to a previous contest and basically just obliterated the competition, setting records. So that's, I don't know, it's kind of a little
My
unfair.
whole take is, like I said, free country, and I'm a respectful person. I'm gonna respect your pronouns. I'm gonna respect your decisions. Just be an adult, and I don't know. I think I agree though that sports should be played that way because there is very clear and proven advantages given to a person when they kind of cross sides.
Yeah.
So
Easy.
that's my take.
Got a
Yeah, I
take.
think there's a number of things that coincide with the whole LGBTQ and the transitioning, and then you add that to sports. and it's a touchy subject. I agree with Jake. I honestly have no hate on the LGBTQ group at all on the community. As a minority myself, I suffer through a lot of you know, well, I suffered through a lot of discrimination when I was growing up, just because I
Hmm.
was born in a white community predominantly, very conservative. I'm a first generation, so I can see that I can see their on that side in terms of discrimination. But when it comes to things like this, in sports especially, I think Jake had a great point. Is that you want to be able to make sure there's a fair playing field, and
Yeah.
despite all of the conversations of a
Surgery.
free country, it's not necessarily free. We pay our taxes. There are things that run along all this. We have laws for a reason. I mean, the
Yeah.
the NFL, a lot of these government bodies or governing bodies in sports, have these rules for a reason because you can really endanger somebody if you have that upper hand. And transitioning from a male to a woman has a very high marginal advantage if you're going to be playing in women's sports because not only
I
are
mean,
you
if I could
just
just
much
say,
bigger as a person, it's just you can end up really just it's an unfair advantage for the most part is what I'm
if I could
saying.
just say this is why we have different weight classes in sports. This is why we have different um teams and different groups. It's to make it a fair playing field,
Mhm.
and that's why certain performance drugs aren't allowed. That's why 150-pound body uh, power lifters don't compete with 200-pound body
Stop.
or power lifters. I
Right.
mean,
Hmm.
there's different categories, there's different weight classes, and it's all to keep the integrity of the sport alive and to give everyone a fair playing field. And you compete in your class, you compete in your weight group. And if they want to do transgender powerlifting, do that. That sounds great. Just, I think everyone deserves to have a fair chance or
I
an
don't
equal
even think
playing
it's like
field in the
a
spirit of
sexual
competition.
thing either. Like I don't even take it as that. I take it more as um like if you want to do the sport, go ahead, but just understand there are regulations and bylaws
Yeah.
in those particular sports
Yeah.
and you have to follow them. It's not you can't I mean, sure, it's a rule doesn't make it right, right? I mean, obviously, but it's just like you have to understand that when you take hormones and you put those things in your body, you take estrogen, that genetically modifies whatever's going on in your body, and that's the unfair advantage. And and,
Well,
and
and they
also
already have the
and
testosterone.
and in the male thing, they already have the testosterone, so they have that you know that going for them. So it all it's all that together is just it makes it unfair. It's unsafe, especially when you're playing high contact sports.
Hmm.
And come on, like you're gonna power lift as a male in a women's I guess
Section.
section
Team.
or
Not team.
just
Division.
it doesn't make so much sense. But again, like if they allow it, I mean, fuck it, whatever. Like
Well,
I
I
mean,
mean, even though,
I'm not a big advocate for like don't let anyone do anything. Like don't let transgenders go in here and there. If they allow it, then they fucking allowed it. Like I'm not, but
yeah,
Yeah, I feel the same way.
it's
but even
just
the
it's not
other
big enough for
competitors.
me to care. But but if I were to put my 2 cents in, that's what I would say. I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, what I was gonna say was the other competitors have complained about it also, saying it was unfair. And they did try, I guess this is kind of helping, but not really because they also have for transgender athletes, they have like a certain testosterone level, like a maximum you can have in your body, but that level's still like extremely high, so it still
Hmm.
gives them an unfair advantage.
I mean, so unless they get all their medical hoo-ha is correct, and then they can finally have that sort of okay, males can do women's sports when they transition,
If there was a
even
magic pill that could
transgenders.
just switch you, I'm all for that. And God bless you and your decisions you make in your life. But I think the reason we have different weight classes, age groups, gender groups, is to keep the integrity of sports, keep a fair playing field, as well to keep everyone safe. Like you said, in full contact sports, it's not just made for fun; it's to protect those things and the players. So
Yeah, you don't want a Canelo fighting a fucking
Yeah.
Clarissa Shields. Like that's fucking murder. So it's like,
yeah,
then again, um, I would love to see the UFC champion
Amanda Nunes.
Amanda Nunes fight a male, because there's no woman that could beat her. I'm sorry. There has to
No.
be a male going in that cage with her, because that's
that'd
where
be
that's
funny.
where I draw the line. Like we need a male to fight Amanda Nunes, because
He's a
it's too
monster.
much. No woman has been able to beat this one
Dude,
this
I
machine.
would pay money to see Amanda Nunes transfer or transition into a man and take on the males
And she'll
in the
do it. I mean,
UFC.
she won't transition, but she'll fight a man. She said it plenty of times
Yeah.
in her Twitter. She'll fight a man. I'm like, I'll pay double pay-per-view for that. I don't even care. That's a fight I want to see. I don't want to see TikTok YouTubers throwing baby pillow punches. I want to see a woman rock a male, legit.
Rock.
But hey, I guess
Yes, we'll see.
we'll see.
Yeah.
But
I think wrap up time.
I
Yeah.
guess so.
Yeah,
You want to wrap it up easy?
Yeah, I'll
yeah.
wrap
Take
it
it
up.
up one last time for us.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching the UCereal podcast. We are so fortunate to have viewers. Just watch our content, look at us, like, subscribe, follow. It means the world to us, and it's meant the world to me. For the most part, every day when I clock out, and then the weekend comes by, I was always looking forward to doing this with my buddies, and unfortunately, it's come to an end for me. But again, things change and life moves on. But hey,
Mhm.
we appreciate you guys again. Thanks for tuning in for the U Serial podcast. This is which episode is this? I'm like
This is episode 15, my friend.
episode 15 and still going. We're going to be coming back next week with some more content, some more stuff. The world's ever changing, so it's a never ending talking point. But thank you
Yeah.
guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.
Peace, guys.
Bye.